Welcome to the cabin. Today we're painting another miniature from the Warzone Eternal Kickstarter. Before we start though, please consider giving the video a like if you enjoy it, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about future content. With that said, let's get to it. So, I was recently sent a package from Res Nova Games with some miniature prototypes for the Warzone Eternal Kickstarter. I made a video about that where I also painted an Imperial Trencher. Check that out here if you haven't seen it. The Kickstarter was funded in 9 hours and has been going strong for a little over a week now. Click the link in the description down below and check it out for yourself. Today, we're painting the Golden Lion Operator. It's a very dynamic sculpt and I just love that running pose. I prepped the miniature in the exact same way as in the previous video. In one of the comments, I discussed whether or not there was a point in doing the zenithal highlight. My purpose here was to get a guide for shadows and highlights. Here you can see a montage of pictures from different angles that I used as a reference for my painting. When choosing the colors, I used the classic Golden Lion artwork by Paul Bonner, Paolo Parente, and Terry Oakes, plus a reference picture of the plasma carbine. With everything set, I started with the classic red armor. I used corn red as a base coat. Then I applied Carroburg Crimson in the recesses as a pin wash. Corn red was then used once again to clean up any overspill. Next up, I diluted Wazdaka red with a lot of water and applied this thin glaze-like mix in several layers. Here, the zenithal guide helped me decide where to place the brighter colors. I spent some extra time with the armor to make sure the transitions were smooth on this important feature of the miniature. I then used Evil Sun Scarlet in the same way, only focusing on a slightly smaller area. As an edge highlight, I applied Pink Horror. After that, I used a 70-30 mix of Pink Horror and Wraithbone as a selective edge highlight for the sharpest corners. To tie all the colors together, I applied a filter of Blood Angels Red with a lot of contrast medium. The reference art features a black and grey camouflage pattern, and Imperial insignia on the shoulder pads. I opted to not do the camouflage, feeling it would distract from the work on the armor and make the model look too busy. Looking at pictures taken at Adepticon, the rules for these models don't include camouflage either, leaving that role for the Blood Berets. As for the insignia, I would just have to wait for the waterslide decals that were recently unlocked as a stretch goal for the Kickstarter. Next up, the gloves, boots, and gun holster were all base coated with Caliban green. I then shaded these areas with Coelia green shade. To bring back some definition, I applied Caliban green once again. I then used Wa Flesh to brighten them up a bit. For the edge highlight, I used a 50-50 mix of Wa Flesh and Gauss Blaster green. For the selective edge highlight, I used Gauss Blaster green on its own. Finally, I used Creed Camo with a lot of contrast medium as a filter. For the leather elements of the uniform and the wooden handle on the plasma carbine, I used all the same paints as in the Trencher video. The skin was base coated with a 50-50 mix of Bugman's Glow and Cadian Flesh Tone. I then shaded the face with Reichsland Flesh Shade. At this point, I also painted the eyes and mouth, starting with Abaddon Black, and then Pallid Witch Flesh. I used Cadian Flesh Tone on its own as a first layer for the skin. I then applied Kislev Flesh, this time a bit more selectively. After that, I used Flayed One Flesh for the most extreme features. To tie it all together, I used a filter of Guilliman Flesh diluted with a lot of contrast medium. At first, I thought the face was okay while looking at it with my bare eyes, However, seeing it through the macro lens, I realized the eyes were a bit derpy looking. It's because too much of the sclera, the white part, was showing, making it look like the eyes were too open. So I went back and had another go at painting the eyes, this time while wearing magnifying glasses. Simultaneously, I tidied up the face a bit. All the metallic parts were base coated with lead belcher. I then gave them a wash with Nuln Oil. I felt like Agrex's Earthshade was good for the trencher, but Nuln Oil makes the metal look more well polished and not as dirty, befitting the special forces. To bring back some definition, I used Iron Hand Steel. Finally, I applied Runefang Steel a bit more selectively to really bring out some shine. The weapon panels on the Plasma Carbine were base coated with Abaddon Black. Next up, I used Ashen Grey as a thicker edge highlight. After that, I used Dawnstone with a more thin line inside the previous one. Then I applied a selective edge highlight with Administratum Grey, focusing on the sharpest corners. For the filter, I used Black Templar with a lot of contrast medium. I base coated the screen and buttons on the communication device with Abaddon Black. Then I placed a small dot of white scar towards the top right corners. Next up, I layered on Caliban Green. To differentiate them from the gloves, I used a layer of Warpstone Glow. Finally, I used Moot Green in the down left corner. I chose to paint the red beret in a more orange tone, starting with Mephiston Red. I then glazed on Evil Sun Scarlet, diluted with a lot of water. As a highlight, I used Wild Rider Red. After that, I applied Troll Slayer Orange as a selective highlight. Similar to the armor, I used a filter of Blood Angels Red with a lot of contrast medium. I then sealed the whole thing with a 50-50 mix of matte and satin varnish. Since the Golden Lion and the Trencher are both part of the Imperial faction, I did the base in the same way as the last video. With that, the miniature was complete. I had a great time painting this one. Resnova have really done an excellent job on these sculpts, and I can't wait to paint the rest. Don't forget to check out the Kickstarter page. You'll find the link in the description down below, along with social media links for the company. Thank you so much for watching. Click subscribe and ring that bell icon if you don't want to miss out on any other future content from the channel. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like and follow us on social media for updates. We'll see you next time. Good luck with your miniatures.